Before diving into this incredible story, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every story has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. In the small town of Charleston, the rain fell relentlessly, blanketing the narrow streets in a cold, gray haze. Marcus Bennett, a devastated young father, collapsed onto a sodden park bench. Since the tragedy, nothing made sense. Just days earlier, an accident had claimed his wife's life, and he believed their baby, little Lily, had perished in the same incident. The world around him seemed to have stopped, each breath a cruel reminder of his loss. As he let his tears mingle with the cold water, a small, fragile voice called out from behind him. "Sir." He turned abruptly. A little girl, no older than 10, was looking at him with bright eyes and genuine concern. Your baby is still alive." Marcus gave a nervous laugh, a sound broken by pain and disbelief. "What are you talking about, little one? It's impossible." But in his hands, the little girl held out a small piece of paper, trembling in the rain, with a scribbled address and a name he knew all too well, his daughter's name. A mixture of hope and terror washed over him. He knew he had to go and see. Every step toward that address was a battle between the fear of being broken again and the fragile hope he no longer dared to dream. When he finally arrived at the designated spot, what he discovered left him speechless. His daughter, alive, but mutilated, sick, and rejected by those who should have protected her. Injustice, cruelty, and the inconceivable had struck where he least expected it. His fists clenched, his breath caught in his throat, and he knew he would never be the same again. That night, in that dilapidated house full of secrets, Marcus realized that his life had just taken a second turn, and this time, the pain would be doubled by anger and despair. Marcus stood frozen before the crumbling door. His hands trembled, rain streamed down his face, but he felt a mixture of fear and hope urge him to knock. A heavy silence greeted him, broken only by muffled sobs coming from inside. The little girl who had guided him stepped aside timidly, murmuring, "I told you, she's alive." The door opened slowly. Inside, the light was dim, filtering through curtains yellowed with age. And there, in a small crib covered with dirty blankets, he saw Lily. Her skin was pale, her eyes wide and frightened. She coughed softly, as if each breath were a struggle. Marcus felt his heart break and fill with guilt. How could he have believed she was dead? A middle-aged woman with a hard, tired face stood in the shadows. "She was taken in, but it's not her home," she said coldly. "Her father never knew where she was." Marcus approached the crib and took his daughter in his arms. Lily was trembling, but when she put her little arms around his neck, a spark of gratitude crossed her eyes. "Daddy," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Reality hit him like a thunderbolt. Lily had been alive all this time, but abandoned, sick, and left at the mercy of others. He felt anger rising, burning and uncontrollable. Every memory of his wife's pain, of his inability to protect her, came flooding back. The little girl who had helped him took his hand and said, "I knew you would come. I just wanted someone to save her." Marcus knew he couldn't afford to waste any more time. He had to get Lily away from there, give her medical care, and find out why no one had protected her. But the discovery didn't end there. Searching through her belongings, he stumbled upon documents, notes, and evidence of a cruel conspiracy. Lily hadn't simply been left there through negligence, she had been the victim of a plot, and those who had put her in danger were still at large. Marcus's heart sank, but his gaze became determined. The pain, the injustice, the anger, all of this would drive him to fight for his daughter, and to discover the truth, no matter the cost. Marcus had never felt such intense anger. With Lily in his arms, he hurriedly left the dilapidated house, determined to get her to safety. The little girl who had guided him followed at a distance, silent but watchful. Each step seemed to bring them closer to a safer world, but Marcus knew the real battle was only just beginning. Back home, he settled Lily into her room, cleaned her wounds, and made sure she had something to eat. But every shy smile she gave him was a cruel reminder of the wasted time and suffering she had endured. Marcus knew he had to understand what had happened. Why had Lily been left alone, exposed to illness and danger? That same evening, he examined the documents he had retrieved from the house. They were cryptic, unpaid bills, anonymous letters, and hastily scribbled notes mentioning debts, threats, and a certain program in which Lily was involved. Marcus frowned. What kind of person would mistake an innocent child for a pawn in a cruel game? An image struck Marcus to the core. The name of the woman who had secretly cared for Lily was linked to a clandestine network exploiting vulnerable children. The implications were terrifying. Lily hadn't simply been neglected, she had been targeted, spied on, and likely sold or manipulated by those who wanted to take advantage of her. Marcus felt his blood boil. He vowed to protect her, to uncover every hidden truth, and to bring her justice. But he knew he couldn't act alone. The little girl who had led him to Lily, named Emma, had connections within this network. "I can help you," she finally said. "But we have to be careful. They don't hesitate to do harm." Marcus's face hardened. "No matter what they're capable of doing. As long as I'm here, no one will touch my daughter." That night, as he watched over the sleeping Lily, Marcus made a decision. He would plunge into the darkness to save his daughter and put an end to this network. But what he didn't yet know was that his enemies were closer than he imagined, and that an unexpected betrayal would soon turn his life upside down once again. Marcus hadn't left Lily's room all night. Every sound, every creak in the house seemed suspicious. He knew that those who had endangered his daughter wouldn't stop now that they had lost control of her. The driving rain outside only added to the oppressive atmosphere. The next morning, after getting Lily ready for the day, Marcus decided to meet Emma at a discreet cafe in town. The little girl had promised to give him more information about the network that had exploited her daughter. But as soon as he laid eyes on Emma, he knew something was wrong. Her eyes were ringed with dark circles, and her voice trembled slightly as she whispered, "They know you're here, and they're watching you." Marcus felt a knot of anxiety form in his chest. "Who?" he asked, his voice harsh but low. Emma took a small notebook from her pocket and opened it. Inside were names, addresses, and even photos. Some showed menacing adults, others children, including Lily, in disturbing situations. "It's them. It's the network. If you make a mistake." She didn't finish her sentence, but the message was clear. As he left the cafe, Marcus immediately felt intense stares. A black car followed him at a distance, and masked figures slipped among the passers-by like shadows. Fear turned to anger. He knew he had to be strategic. He wasn't simply protecting his daughter, he was at war with people capable of anything. Back home, Marcus reinforced security measures. He had cameras installed, changed the locks, and began to formulate a small action plan. But the tension mounted with every passing moment. A single mistake could cost them dearly. Later that night, while he was keeping watch, he received an anonymous call. A cold, ruthless voice came through the phone. "Marcus Bennett, you're meddling in things that don't concern you. Stay away from Lily, or you'll regret it." Marcus's heart raced, but he didn't give in to fear. "If you touch my daughter, I'll find you, and you'll pay." He hung up, his face etched with determination. The threats had only just begun, and he knew the road ahead would be long and perilous. But Marcus was ready, there was no turning back. His daughter was alive, and he would do anything to keep her that way, even if it meant facing the deepest darkness. Marcus knew time was running out. Every second hesitating was a second the network could strike again. With Emma's help, he compiled a list of the people involved, the locations they operated in, and clues about their next moves. But he knew he couldn't just stay on the defensive. He had to go on the offensive. The next day, he went to an abandoned warehouse Emma had indicated, a place where illegal transactions involving children had been spotted. Marcus kept Lily safe at a trusted friend's house and took a hidden camera and a notebook with him to take notes. Every footstep in the creaking building echoed in his ears, but he pressed on, focused. Inside, he discovered damning evidence, files on several children, video recordings, and personal belongings of Lily and other victims. Anger overwhelmed him. How could human beings be capable of such cruelty? Suddenly, a noise behind him startled him. Figures emerged from the shadows, armed and menacing. We knew someone was following us. One of them growled. Marcus felt his heart race, but he didn't let fear paralyze him. Thanks to Emma's advice, he managed to create a diversion and escape with the evidence, but he knew this was just one battle among many. Back home, Marcus examined the documents and grasped the scale of the threat. The network was larger and more dangerous than he had imagined. But for the first time in a long time, he felt genuine hope. He now had the information to begin dismantling it. That night, as he watched over the sleeping Lily, he made a silent vow: I will never let anyone hurt her, ever. But deep down, he knew that the real dangers had only just begun, and that every step towards justice brought them closer to a fatal confrontation with those who had dared to break up his family. Marcus knew the moment of truth had arrived. With the evidence he had recovered, he now had the ability to strike the network at its source. But he also knew the risk was immense. Every move had to be precise, every decision carefully considered. Lily had to stay safe, protected from this war of which she was merely an innocent victim. He discreetly contacted trusted authorities and showed them the documents and recordings. Some names, some evidence, were so powerful that they made even those who thought themselves untouchable tremble. Meanwhile, he was planning an operation to permanently free other captive children and put an end to the network's activities. The following night, Marcus and Emma went to one of the organization's main locations. Shadows moved around them, and each step seemed to bring them closer to imminent danger. But Marcus was resolute. He had wasted too much time, lost too much hope. This time, he would let nothing and no one escape him. Inside, they were confronted by several members of the network. The confrontation was tense and dangerous. But Marcus, driven by his rage and his love for Lily, managed to neutralize the threats, capture the evidence, and call the authorities for a final intervention. Every second counted, and Marcus's adrenaline was pumping. When calm finally returned, Marcus left the building certain that justice had been served. Lily was safe, the network dismantled, and the truth revealed. But what touched him most was his daughter's gaze, a mixture of rediscovered innocence and silent gratitude. For the first time in a long time, he felt that the weight of guilt and fear could finally begin to lift. Back home, he took Lily in his arms, feeling her heartbeat against his own. "Daddy's here, and no one will ever be able to hurt you again," he whispered. And for the first time in months, Marcus truly smiled, feeling that even after the darkness, love and protection could rebuild a shattered life.